Hey Falcon Force, welcome back to the Nest. Today I'll be showing you the top 5 RPG games on Xbox Game Pass. First up is Eastward, taking 5th place. Eastward is a beautifully detailed and charming adventure game. In the near future, society is starting to collapse and the human population is at an all-time low. A deadly toxic presence has spread across the land, destroying and devouring everything in its path. You play as a character named John, along with a little girl named Sam. They both work as miners in Pockrock Isle, a town full of miners. I have to say, right from the start of the game, it throws you straight into it. I played Eastward for about 30 minutes, and unlike other RPGs, this one seems pretty hard to follow, story-wise of course. The quick-paced and witty dialogue definitely made the game fun to play for a while, however it seemed to get a little bit dull. The game tries to make up for it with its beauty, but that can only take you so far. The next aspect of the game was really fun though, fighting. The beat-em-up playstyle of the game makes you feel so strong as you fight your way through enemies in your path. The puzzle solving was fun too, although it took too long in my opinion, and they really force you to figure out the puzzles for yourself. There's no guide aside from the quest missions to really tell you what to do, or more specifically, how to do it. The funnest part of the game for me had to be blowing up walls and enemies, and hitting them with my frying pan. I'm confident the story gets better as you explore and go further eastward, but I felt I was wasting my time the more I played considering I didn't get rewarded too much for completing the quests. Even the dialogue was kind of wacky when I completed my quests. Overall, the rating of the game has to be 5 out of 10 for me. Next up, taking 4th place is Stardew Valley. This is a game about change as you play as a man who's lost his way. His grandpa gave him a letter which explains he left a farm for you as an inheritance. It took me almost 5 minutes just to start the game. There's so much information to type in at the beginning of the game in addition to creating your character. This is a clip of me creating my character at 10 times speed. Yeah, it took a while. Upon arriving at the farm, there was already a lot to do, and the game doesn't waddle in letting you do it. There's a lot of work that goes on preparing farmland, and yet the game doesn't feel like work at all. The peaceful sounds and ambiance made me feel right at home. If home was a farm in the middle of nowhere. While I loved listening to the music, sounds, and all over serenity of the game, after doing a bit of work in the game, for less than 10 minutes my character ran out of energy. It seems pretty difficult to have fun playing a game for 10 minutes and walking around the rest of the time trying to look for food, but this seems like a player issue rather than the game issue, as there's so many ways you can fill up your energy bar. Over everything else, I felt like I was walking the whole game. Despite that, I still loved every second, even though I do wish I could have moved a little bit faster. There's dungeons and caves in the game too, but even after walking around for 30 minutes, I couldn't seem to find even one. Maybe I need to get further in the game. My rating for this game is 7 out of 10. Following in 3rd, we have Cassette Beats. Cassette Beats is an RPG that lets you transform into monsters using retro classic cassette tapes? Interesting, huh? This game follows the classic protagonist amnesia story. Why am I here? Who am I? Where am I? With all these questions, you're led into Harbor Town to find out. Faced with the constant threat of monster attacks, the residents of Harbor Town choose to fight fire with fire. Record a monster to a tape, then play it back to take on its form in battle. P.S. You can also name them. I named my Moth Boy. You're faced with a question that no one can answer. How do I get home? To find out, you meet a bunch of friends that'll help you get there. This game itself has very interesting battle mechanics in that it plays similar to Octopath Traveler. You get points in battle that you can use to boost your skills or blast out stronger attacks. The capturing different monsters aspect reminds me a lot of Pokemon in the sense that when you capture a new monster, you gain a new set of moves and abilities depending on the cassette you're using. However, there's more to this game than battling. The story of this game is really captivating, making the player want to play more and more to truly understand what's happening in this beautiful fantasy world. But the puzzles make for a fun, interactive game. There seems to be a bit of platforming too as you find new paths to take in this cartoon-like paradise. And I can't forget the music. The music of this game has to be one of my favorite parts. Whether it's a bouncy groove or a chill bop, this game brings the heat to these cassette beats. My rating for this game is an 8 out of 10. In 2nd place, we have Chained Echoes, your classic turn-based battling game. Chained Echoes takes place on the continent of Volandis, where the Prince of Torment is on a quest to unite all the kingdoms of the realm by force. The Band of the Iron Bull, the mercenaries you play at the beginning of the game, has been hired as an opposing force in the battle against Torment. The fast-paced gameplay and detailed animation style of the game was a great change of pace in comparison to everything else Xbox Game Pass has to offer. Where most RPGs say let's walk, this game says let's run, as it takes you on a new adventure with its leading protagonist, Glenn. Although it's hard to say leading protagonist since he's not the only one. Oh yeah, did I forget to mention that this game switches perspectives? What a fun, unusual twist for an RPG. The beginning of the game throws you right into the story as you fight in the middle of a war. And I have to say, they did a pretty good job immersing the player into the game as you walk through the battlefield filled with battle cries and fighting soldiers. The game doesn't hesitate to put you in your first battle, not even letting you get to the ground before an enemy approaches. This is where it introduces its first form of fighting. That's right, there's more than one type of fight in this game. I wasn't playing long when they put me in the ground fight as well. I found it awesome that the game decided to mix it up in this way. Having multiple ways to fight makes for less repeatability as to keep the game's uniqueness. I'm sorry, did I forget to mention how beautiful this game is? From the surroundings on the airship, to the background in the sky fight, and even to the war on ground level. It kept making me marvel at its amazing animation. Who says RPGs can't have charm? The dialogue was quick and fast, always going to the next sentence or topic and keeping the player engaged. I loved reading the banter and giving each character their own voice based on their personality, since it's shown so bright through the text. Walking around felt the same way, as it didn't feel like a chore. There was so much eye candy to feast on as I walked around, plus the game rewarded me for exploring the area. I felt satisfied the more I played the game, knowing that I could have easily sat there and played the game for hours on end. This game is a hard one to beat, and yet it's only in second place. My rating for this game is 9 out of 10. Last but not least, it's Rune Factory 4 Special, taking first place. While at its core, Rune Factory 4 is a farming RPG, there are other parts of the game too. The fighting, the relationship building, the story, the funny and wacky dialogue, the cooking, there's just so much to go through. You play as a character who's on a quest to give a gift to the native dragon before he loses his memory by getting clonked on the head. Oh no! He ends up getting kicked off the boat by some rogues who were after the gift. Living in a new place with no memory sure is hard, so why not work a field as a prince to hopefully remember everything you once knew? The cartoonish art style of the game, matched with the anime art style of the characters, quickly creates a fun and witty atmosphere as you experience the game. The game lets you know this as soon as it starts with some dialogue from the two stowaway rogues on the battleship. This leads to the first fight, which I actually really enjoyed. The game plays like your average beat 'em up. Not only that, but every hit is so satisfying that you just have to slice your enemy again and again and again. Sorry about that. It's addicting, and nearly impossible to wrench yourself away from if you ever had to hop off the game while in a fight. I do admit though, the game teases you with its fighting mechanics since that's the only one you get for a while. As I said before, it's a farming game by nature, thus you're forced to farm before you can fight. Of course, that's no problem, since farming in Rune Factory can be just as addicting as fighting in Rune Factory. Farming is pretty straightforward. You get the seeds, you till the land, you plant the seeds, you water the seeds, you repeat the next day. Once your crops grow, you sell them for moolah! It's pretty easy and quite rewarding cycle if you ask me. What makes it all worth it is the game's huge calendar. Events happen almost every day in the game, and with all the characters you get to talk to and build relationships with, this fantasy world feels almost alive as you continue to live and prosper in this town you know literally nothing about. I wonder if it shows that I value comedy more than gameplay. I mean, just look at this conversation between this guy and my character. I was actually laughing while recording until one of my family members came in and nearly spooked me half to death. The characters in this game have so much personality, making you want to talk to them again and again to experience new situations. After only playing the game a short while, I quickly met 5 characters that each had their own shining and bubbly personality. Of course, their personas were really exaggerated when it comes to most RPGs. However, I feel this makes Rune Factory the game it is. The way their characters always say good morning, their emotions as you talk to them, their glimmering voice that pops through the text. I ended up playing this game longer than the others, and I actually wanted to continue playing it the longer I did so. For those reasons, my rating for this game is 9.5 out of 10. To wrap things up, these are the top 5 games I feel Xbox Game Pass has to offer in this area of gaming. When you don't know what games to play, these are great choices. They all offer something unique and fun, which is the atmosphere every gamer loves. If you don't agree, or you have other games you would like to list, tell me in the comments below. And if I helped you in any way, please drop a like and consider joining the Falcon Force by subscribing. Stay strong and fly on, everyone.